It's yes o'clock in the morning. I just got up. I have no idea what's going on. I'm barely awake. There's no caffeine in my body yet. And for some reason, I have the urge to watch the Frostpunk review by Bricky right now. So without thinking about this too much, because that way by 5 minutes, we're just going to do that. You guys know the deal. Link below video. Hit it up. Let's get started.
Being a virgin has its disadvantages.
Not where I thought this would go.
Advantages? It increases my power as a gamer.
Oh. So is this from the game? Oh, you see the sunken ships. Ooh. I think I've heard a bit about this game. The only thing I know is that it's like Civ, but way more trying to murder you. This doesn't look like Civ, though. Maybe it wasn't the best comparison I was told. People are desperate? Oh. Feels... I don't really know what this game would feel like. I know I've seen something it seems kind of like some of the old online games, but way more polished. 70... How cold is that?
Hello everybody, my name is Bricky, currently freezing to death because the captain forgot to recall me before the great storm. A surefire way to tell that I'm getting older is by the games I've been reviewing. As a young brick, Halo 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, midnight release at a GameStop or...
Bricky, why are you making me feel old? I'm just thinking, like, those games just came out, and then I'm looking at him saying, yeah, this is old, and... Also the fact that, hey, remember when midnight releases were a thing that mattered, and you didn't just have a digital copy because even if you bought a physical copy, it was just a key so you could use the digital copy without having to use a key that you have to put in yourself because it didn't matter? I hate technology. I'm an old man, apparently.
Microsoft Store, those were the times. Now, we've reached the point of depressing post-apocalyptic city builder about the morality of the last city on Earth.
Let's see, this came out about 2 years ago. Huh, what happened in 2020 where a post-apocalyptic last city on Earth where a bunch of people are in a horrible situation would possibly seem relevant? I have no idea, this is completely beyond me. Nothing happened recently. Nothing at all, nothing I'm blocking.
And by God, do I love it. Frostpunk is a brutal city builder survival game created by 11-bit studios out of Warsaw, Poland, which means, yes, this is another incredibly depressing Polish game, which is just...
Is that like a genre?
Frostpunk came out in 2018 to almost all positive reviews, with the negative reviews mainly citing the optimization, frame rate, stuttering problems. Now in 2021, with multiple DLC and many patches out, Frostpunk is one of the best city builders I have ever played.
City builder, that's the type it looks like.
That combines
I've never done these.
City building, survival, morality, major decision making, and the worst part of them all, angry British. All into one fantastic, brutal simulator that just carries itself on so many fantastic factors. It is a gorgeous...
Okay, that looked... I'm sorry. It's things like this in the background. This is what the game looks like. I thought it was just a static, papered over version with some movement. But no, they're actually animating specific sections, so it's a stylistic choice.
It is a gorgeous, exciting, and engrossing title that I would highly recommend to almost anybody, even to those who are not huge fans of city builders. And with that being said, let's talk a little bit about what Frostpunk is all about.
I have a very disturbing idea that this might be one of those videos where I'm like, I don't need to play this, followed by the end of the video going, I am going to spend money and play this. I hope it's on sale, because this... I think I know where this is going, and my wallet does not like it.
The game is set in 1886, where in an alternate history after the eruption of Krakatoa in 1883, along with many other major factors, the entire planet has seen a major global cooling. In response to this, giant generators were constructed in order to house all the population to survive during this ice age period of time. And that is where you take place. In the main scenario titled A New Home, you and a group of people are fleeing London from the riots and civil war, as well as the freezing cold, to go find a new place to live out there in the frozen wastes. And
the only thing different will be the cold in normal London.
Man, generator in this gigantic little pit. So you go down there, start the bastard up, and that is what...
Why is there a random generator? Oh, because there's probably another city that already died. Yeah.
When the game truly begins. And it starts at a just crisp -20 degrees Celsius.
I'm so jacked up on America.
You're
Thank you for the little introduction there. I definitely wasn't forgetting that. I know numbers. Honestly, I thought it was lower than that.
First task is to get the generator up and running. The generator is love. The generator is life. Everything.
What is it, Shrek? Oh, it is green, yeah.
Generator. Starting off, you have no buildings, no homes. So you're going to need to build them. But to build homes and tents and such, you need wood. So you got to go gather some wood. But don't forget about that coal, though. You need to make sure the generator is still functional. Uh-oh, you sent people through the snow to go get your wood. That's not good. Now they're getting sick because of hypothermia. You need to make a medical post in order to treat them. But
okay,
a medical
so
post
far straightforward.
costs wood. And also, not anyone can just man a medical post. You need doctors for that. Don't forget about that coal, though. You need food badly. You can have some people go out to hunter huts to be able to find smaller little...
You know what? This actually reminds me more of Age of Empires. And I haven't played that since the 90s and early 2000s when it was the old Age of Empires, so number 3. Which, now I think about it, is still kind of old in its own right. But still, unlike that game where you just get resources all smooth sailing, especially if you need the cheat codes for Laser Bear. If you also know what I'm talking about, nice. But it seems like this one's very much, the more you do, the more you get punished for doing things. I've heard this game was brutal. Apparently that's why.
And try to get food that way, but that's just raw food. You can't eat raw food. You need to cook it. So go ahead and build a cookhouse. Oh, but a cookhouse costs wood, and you need people to man said cookhouse.
And coal.
Don't forget about that coal, though. Steel. We need steel. We're running low on resources, and we're gonna need things like coal thumpers and sawmills. We need steel for that kind of stuff. Do we have steel? Is there enough steel out there? We need workshops to do research as well, and only some people can do research. You need engineers for that. Do we have engineers? Don't forget about that coal, though.
The mines are freezing.
Steel, coal, food. Wood, steel, coal, food. Wood, steel, coal, food. Freezing temperatures, starvation, hypothermia, sickness, death. Motivation? I think not. Discontent? You fuck.
Oh, so there's actually a meter for hope. I honestly assumed it would start at 0 and never change. They wouldn't put it in. But no, apparently you have a way to show you just how bad you're doing.
Know it. The Frostpunk formula is just never-ending tension where the taut string of your city threatens to snap at the worst inconvenience. Was your lack of food the pair of scissors that snipped that string? Was it your lack of steel? Did you run out of coal? Was it sickness and lack of medics? What thing did you neglect, and why did that make you fail? But you're a leader of people, not robots, or at least not yet.
There's a robot expansion? Of course there is.
Holy shit, I'm gonna come.
And people have needs too. That's why you have discontent and hope. You need to make sure you understand the needs of your people and of your city. If discontent rises too heavily and goes above hope, you're gonna have consequences. And consequences can lead to riots. And riots can lead to you being exiled from the city, which means you lose. Or worse.
But, oh shit! Okay. If you fuck up hard enough, you get executed by Steam. Ironic considering Frostpunk, but still. This game's going a lot harder than I was expecting.
Managing your hope and discontent is as important, if not more, than managing your actual resources themselves. Luckily for you, you are the captain, and you run this city, which means you can pass laws to assist with that. You can pass laws every so often with a minor cooldown, and these things can either help you a lot more in the resource...
I'm sorry, we get laws! Soup! The law is soup! I'm going soup Nazi in my head from Seinfeld, and it's going to be in my head all this day now, damn it.
Management section, or help you a lot more in the discontent and hope section.
Oh, child
Some
shelter.
Things that make a lot of sense, like a cemetery. You'll be forced to build one, but that'll increase the hope of your people, or a fighting arena that'll decrease.
A cemetery increases hope? Yeah, you think that would be more depressing, but okay, apparently not.
Increase the discontent of your people. Other things can be a little bit more dubious, and some things can be, well, have a bit of a moral problem.
Think about the children! That's a good idea!
Listen, everyone. New law is signed.
Running the last city on
I mean, this is British, so that kind of makes sense.
Earth does have its restrictions though. In a 24-hour time block, you have work and free time. On work time, it's as it sounds. They go and harvest different kinds of materials, they work at the sawmill, they work at the factory, they do all the things you tell them to do, but when their time is off, they go back and they either build buildings, if there are buildings to be built, or they sleep and do nothing, because that's how a city runs. This entire time, you're gonna be maintaining that generator. The generator is your life blood. Everything flows through that generator because the generator produces heat. The cold in Frostpunk is directly related to the possibility of your people becoming sick. The colder they are, the higher chance they have of becoming sick. And when they're sick, they can't work. If someone gets extremely sick, they might get frostbite and they might end up losing a limb and becoming an amputee. And when they're an amputee, they can't work again forever. Unless you sign perhaps the prosthetic law, but guess what? Prosthetics cost steel. Because of this, how you build your city entirely revolves around said generator. You're gonna want.
I'm wondering if one of the expansions is kind of like he mentioned, full-on robots, because at this point it seems like we're heading towards, hey, everyone's a generative cyborg at this point. Let's see what happens. It's fucked up enough that I could see this kind of thing happening.
Things like homes and
you don't win this game, do you?
A lot closer to the generator, where certain things like hunters' huts don't really need heating because they're going out to go hunt anyway, and you can send those damn far away. Soon, though, your local deposits will run dry, which means you're going to need new buildings, and that's where the workshop comes in. The workshop is one of the best single buildings in the entire game. It is manned entirely by engineers, which is a special class of worker, and they allow you to research brand new upgrades to assist you. You're not going to win without this. That's a simple fact. You need...
Wait, you can actually win this? Honestly, I thought this was one of those inevitable failure games where it's not so much about winning as seeing how far you get before you lose. Kind of like Tetris. I know what I said. Technically, one kid beat it because he crashed the system, but that's beside the point.
A workshop. In fact, if you have multiple workshops, it'll also speed up the time frame.
So you want a lot of them.
This has some things that are just lifeblood, like heaters and steam hubs that allow you to take the power of the generator and push it
Is there a way to make the generator more efficient?
To allow for little heat zones and make up for the lack of the generator's long range. There are many, many upgrades that help you out in a myriad of ways, and every single one that you pick will make you feel like you picked not the wrong one, but you wish you picked a different one at the time, because that's the balancing act with it. You'll need
all
a way
good
for more cold,
but there's nothing perfect.
You'll want to insulate all.
That's actually probably the best thing I could say right now. Everything Bricky said right here about how you like it, but there's always other options you wish you picked. That sounds like this game is not just balanced, but they put so much work into it that every little upgrade that normally could feel better has good options. Now, there's probably something, especially near the end, that feels overpowered, but if even most of them are, like he said, that well balanced, this game looks incredibly polished as it is, considering he mentioned the only real issues people had were some optimization things, which hell, even mods people probably made for the game could have done that before anything was fixed from the game itself. This seems like it's incredibly polished and competent and well done and QA'd, and are we sure this game is made within this decade? Because that does not seem like the current ethos for most games. This was probably an indie game, wasn't it?
All of your people's homes, so you're going to want the bunkhouses. You're also going to want things like a beacon to increase the amount of scouts you got out there. Which, speaking of scouts, let's talk about scouts. Scouts, or by their scientific name, no complainus, Big Dickus.
Seriously?
The greatest Giga Chads in all of Frostpunk. These boys you create with a little bit of wood and a couple of your workers, and then you send them out into the frozen wastes. And guess what? They don't need to sleep. They don't ever get sick. And they just go out there and find stuff. Scouts.
So already I can see why these guys are broken, because everything else has been, here's a balancing act. They don't always work. They can get sick. They get cold. There's so many things you have to consider. But then he's just saying, like, scouts, there are no downsides other than you probably have to buy them, which it doesn't sound that bad. If they don't have downsides, do they only give you good things?
Scouts go out into like negative 70 Celsius weather.
Win the game just with scouts?
A single care and without ever needing to rest. They work 24/7. They
God
bring
damn.
back everything from coal, wood, steel, special steam cores, which you need for high-level buildings, and other survivors, and they bring them all back to camp. Scouts are paramount. Scouts have done everything
engineers and scouts,
an outpost on Nikola Tesla's exploding electric city and fist-fighting bears to save the civilians. Scouts.
They are literally D&D 20th level adventurers, because it's like, fuck it, we're gonna make it work.
You are my MVP. Sooner or later, you'll start to get things a little under control.
Why is the screen freezing?
That's when the game throws a wrench at you. Something happens in the game that causes a whole lot of problems for your people. Discontent rises, hope falls, and eventually you need to make a choice. And that's where the fun morality part of the game comes in. You need to give your people something. They need something to hold on to. They need a reason to keep going.
Oh, so it's literally two bad options. One is authoritarian. The other is religious fervor, probably at the zealotry, not just the safe kind, you know, where you're not trying to kill everyone. Oh, this is probably gonna fuck up.
So do you choose order? Do you run your city as a totalitarian regime with an iron fist through law and order?
And I'm assuming the other side is a totalitarian regime through an iron fist of spirituality and religion, which really functions exactly the same, but there's a completely different level of we're doing it because we'll get killed, or we're doing it because we'll get killed because God said so, not the guy at the top, even though he's also the one saying it.
And obedience. Or do you choose faith, which is basically just order but with JC? This is one of my favorite parts of Frostpunk, and also one of its few flaws. See, when you choose one of these two, say for order, for instance, it starts off at a very nice, not very problematic level.
So
order
they're all wrong regardless.
Watch and a couple watchtowers, you know, just to make sure things are going well, just to make sure there isn't any violence, to make sure people feel safe. Simple stuff, you know, nothing wrong with that at all. And then you can move on a little bit farther. You can get like a foreman, which is good to help people work a little bit harder. But then you get a little bit worse. You get giant agitator speakers and propaganda centers.
Do you have to choose
and
these?
Spies and sometimes beatings in order to put people into submission. And sometimes you can go as far as the New Order, which is the highest of them all, where you completely take over the entire town and create a full-on totalitarian nationalist regime. Hope will never be a problem again. Not when you have an execution platform, and not when hope is obedience. On the faith side, my issue is that it's basically the exact same thing as order, but with...
So it literally is not actually a choice. It's just different face paint for how you're going to do horrible things. Yeah, I kind of expected that.
A religious
a little
twist.
Disappointed.
It starts off simple.
Maybe there's a mod
chapels,
for it.
A couple shrines.
Are you allowed not to choose things,
maybe
though?
Some morning prayer, gatherings. Totally fine. But then it goes worse and worse.
They even have it set up that you start from the bottom and work up, where the other one's working from the top down. So it's really the same map. You just see different halves of it.
Public penance and all that kind of crap. And then you have the new faith. It basically feels just like another totalitarian regime, but with a religious side to it. I wish they were a little bit more different. Personally,
I mean, 18th century British. Nah, no, there wouldn't be. The only other one would be the old god of the monarchy, which admittedly would be hilarious because you could make so many Habsburg jokes and it would be funny. I find those funny, despite having a chin that may or may not be related to that. But I'm not going to think about that too much.
I like order a bit more, but even so, I think faith could have used a bit more of a zealotous feel to it.
Oh, they don't go zealot.
Like order with JC. I mean, I play Warhammer. I can understand a good zealotism when I see one.
Bricky plays Warhammer? My God. This guy looks like someone who would be a massive fan of the Night Lords for some reason. Judging him for that.
What makes it so fascinating is that neither of these two are, in a sense, morally bad when it starts out, because everything on the lower echelon of the law book is pretty reasonable.
Oh, they do go in circles then.
Hope starts to fall, discontent starts to rise, and your city starts to be going completely out of whack. Those new options seem really enticing to you, and it is insane how fast this game will turn you into a monster to keep the city alive. The rest of the game is truly a treat, and I think you should absolutely experience it, because Mother...
Are those people strapped to it? No, they're flyers or something. Okay.
Nature will not hold
90 degrees Celsius.
Hi, Dad.
Negative 90.
Question. Why is my sister's name Rose? Well, son, it's because a rose is your mother's favorite thing. So she named your sister Rose. That
is his name going to be Cole or 90 degrees Celsius?
Makes sense. Thanks, Dad. No problem. Violin section of the City Must Survive song.
Oh, damn. No, I'm with him on this one. That is epic. I am not a music person. I do not get most things to do with tone. But even that one has such this feeling of hope and determination, but overwhelming bleakness that it's kind of amazing. Oh, hell yeah. I need to make sure to remember. Are those walkers throughout the city? What is going on in there? I might need to get this game. I'm going to suck at it. I'll never play it, but I kind of want this. Even though just the music is getting me. Oh. No, I can resist.
Frostpunk really gets by on its visual and audio systems. And while the gameplay is phenomenal,
stylistic and cool as hell,
absolutely interesting and great, I think that really having it being pleasurable to look at adds a whole lot to it. Because
this feels like it would be a call out to the new Sim City knockoff. Like Skitty Skylines? Wow, I can't remember speak today. City Skylines. Except this came out before it and probably would be a low blow at that point. But I'm willing to make that low blow. Yeah, this should be a call out to City Skylines for having a game that looks good and actually runs. Who'd have thought that could happen?
City builders aren't always a very pretty game. Sometimes they are, but often it's a lot more about function over form.
Yeah.
And for me, Frostpunk does both.
Which I guess would be Dwarf
perfectly.
Fortress at that
Look
point.
at the UI in general. The UI really
Sort
does
of.
a great job at selling that kind of punky steampunk feel to it. But then certain things get added. Like whenever you see a brand new notification or an area from the scouts are being checked on, and you see that kind of way the ice kind of cracks to show open the whole image and to really kind of spread open like the weird creaking.
The stylization there is really
whenever
neat.
You have any new visuals. It's really fascinating and it adds a lot of depth to the game and it gives
I'm
it
gonna
so much
buy
more
this game, aren't I?
Hell, even things like finishing up new research or opening up certain tabs have that kind of click, click, click steampunk style to it.
Oh, there's actually the audio port. Oh, dude, I love audio components when they just have the perfect feel. It adds so much immersion. I've played games because sometimes their sound effects are amazing. And also music. It's literally why I got into Revengeance from Metal Gear. So, yeah, I'm fuck, I'm gonna get this game, aren't I?
Everything UI
I know I am.
feels so crisp and well made, and it's one of the few things that I think is nigh perfect. And I haven't even like talked about the sound yet. Oh.
Wait, that one song wasn't the only one? Wait, are there more good tracks? Oh, they actually talk about it as if there's someone decrying it. Or decreeing it. You can shut it down? Ooh. And just random walkers in the background. Why? What? Oh, you build streets. Oh. Fallen Star.
So, Bricky.
What? I feel like I'm missing a joke here. Fallen Star, Camp Meteor. Scientific value found here.
So, Bricky.
I don't get that
what
reference.
Is that
Maybe just
Frostpunk
the
is
good
a
music?
fantastic game with a wonderful scenario and that you should go buy it. Damn straight. But at times, you can find a little bit of a lack of replayability.
Oh.
And that is where the scenarios come in. Everything I've talked about right now is just...
Oh, so there's actually multiple ways to look at the... Oh! That would add a lot of depth. So I thought it was just like, you just play and it's roguelike, but if it's not roguelike, that means there's a set story. Or one set scenario and there's... Oh! Bricky, you're making this way too easy to buy, and I don't want to do more money spent. Ugh.
Just one scenario. The main one, A New Home. The game actually ships with 4. The Arks are about maintaining these...
Wait, that wasn't... I was under the impression, because most games, you would get one scenario and it's just the game, and then he said there was multiple DLC, and that would be each of the others. But if they start with 4... Oh, wait, seedling arcs. Oh, so those monstrous walker things were the arcs with seeds. Oh, that's actually really cool.
giant seed holders that you need to maintain their heat for while also surviving yourself. It's basically the same as the main game, except you don't get any new people. You only get extra automatons to work on everything. And you also need to protect these multiple different kinds of seed arcs by making sure—
Oh no, those are the arcs, it's actual houses. Oh, that's actually fascinating and kind of terrifying.
They stay warm enough. It's nothing too stand out, but it's worth playing. The Refugees is interesting. This is one where you actually gain a ton of new people, but the problem with the Refugees is that your group has fled the high-class lords in the prior city, and they're going to be arriving eventually once you create your city. So now you've got the lower working class having to deal with the upper echelon lords coming to the city and possibly trying to take it over
I hear a purge coming
as their own. So you have to deal with the morality.
What is that phrase they used in France? Something about let them eat cake. I'm sure that wouldn't be said at any point.
Of that scenario and whether or not you let those lords in. The fall of Winterhome is when you have a bullying kink. Basically, the prior ruler of Winterhome was a shithead and was killed, and the entire city burned in a massive civil war. So you are here to clean up what he did. It's so tough.
So it's basically hard mode where you're starting on your own previous failure. Oh.
So fucking hard. The entire area has a myriad of problems. All of the homes are burnt and you have to get rid of all of them. The generator's having problems.
Wait, they can burn? I didn't think there would be enough heat to do that. Oh. What? There's probably a story going on, yeah.
Everything has gone to shit. Discontent is already really high. It's like you're taking over after a horrible, horrible ruler prior. It is very, very difficult, and it throws you curveballs at every single avenue. It's
because the regular game wasn't hard enough.
Easily the best of the extra scenarios, way better than the Arks and Refugees, but by lord, is it fucking hard.
So basically, it's the first one is standard game. The second one is, hey, you get to play with robots. Third one is, let's eat the rich. Fourth one is, this is what happens after you fucked up. Just to find out what the epilogue is, which is also, they fucked up as well, because there's no good option. But that's just the base game. What comes in the DLC?
There are also 2 more DLCs.
Oh, speaking of.
On the Edge and The Last Autumn. Really? Now, On the Edge is a pretty interesting one. It actually takes place after you finish a new home, and it has you on this long side crevice and a army warehouse. And the way you work with this one is you actually communicate with local civilizations. One has food, one has wood, one has coal, and you have steel. And you trade all of your resources back and forth for the various resources there, because you can't actually get food in basically any way. So it's really interesting to have that dilemma, but
one of the options is hot springs. That sounds absolutely amazing considering how cold everything is.
It's very short and lacks any real replayability.
Oh, so you do it once and you're done.
One, unless you're just dying for more Frostpunk. The Last Autumn is incredible. I could probably make an entire video on The Last.
I think he did make an entire video on it.
Autumn in its own right. I might do it.
I might have to check that out next.
Is actually a prequel. It takes place before the Great Cooling, and
so regardless of what goes on, there's that overwhelming sense of depression knowing that it's only going to get worse because you know this is a prequel. I wonder if it has like a trilogy aspect where there's an epilogue, and you see what it gets like when it doesn't look bad. Deal with all the melting water or something.
You are running a labor force. You're working on a labor force to build one of those major generators. The Last Autumn doesn't have to worry about cold because the cold hasn't arrived yet. It's a perfectly nice temperature, but you're entirely based around running that workforce. Hope is not there. It's now motivation. You don't need to worry about coal for heaters. You need to worry about coal for ventilation, because workplace safety is a new major factor here. People won't get sick because of the cold. They'll get sick because your workplaces are hazardous and dangerous.
Well, see, that's unrealistic. Nobody during the 1800s in Britain would ever care about that. They were always put down because, oh, the poor, complaining again. Yeah. Also, that's as close to a British accent as I can get. You can tell I don't do accents.
This is the 1880s, and man, was shit dangerous back then.
Only then? Whoa. Oh, shit. Are there screaming in the background?
And then you got the butting heads between the higher echelon engineers and the working class usual workers. And the two of them are constantly at each other's throats, and you have to work with them to see what is the best avenue. Do you go with the engineers and you do some foremans and overseers to make sure things are getting done to specification, or do you go on a workers union to make sure that they get all the rights that they want? Both have pluses, both have negatives, and both can get really dark. The Last Autumn is completely worth the money.
Yeah,
it is
they win full
incredible.
French.
It is almost as good as a New Home. I think it just comes slightly short, but it is absolutely worth buying. And the morality system, unlike Order and Faith, engineers and workers.
Oh, so they upgrade the order, so it actually makes
different.
sense.
They feel a lot different, and do they get dubious? And finally, do you want more?
Yeah, I can see how that would go. There's history of both of those options having degenerative problems, so I can see exactly how that's gonna go. Oh my god. Wait, there's endless modes?
Or Frostpunk? Because you got endless mode, which is also quite difficult. Endless mode combines all these kinds of factors and all these different kinds of twists.
Like, is it just to see the high score?
Endless mode.
Admittedly, endless mode is what I thought this game would be to start with, just see how far you can get. Or can you make it self-perpetuating at some point?
It's great. I would highly recommend endless mode. It is fun to try if you are just dying for more Frostpunk, but, you know, it's still just endless mode, so, you know, that's up to you. Overall, Frostpunk is an extremely engrossing management game. It combines the fantastic visuals and audio that I don't
like
see
these
in many
types of
city
games.
builders with
me.
a very dark, depressing steampunk vibe that is both extremely difficult and horrendously rewarding,
pretty.
both from the moral attitude and from that final victory that you can get if you pull it off.
Okay, before I started this video, I was telling myself, okay, remember, Airier, you're not buying this game. I don't care what Bricky says. You're not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm going to do that. I know. Yeah. It is the third-ish time that I've been convinced by Bricky to buy something based on the video he's done. And this one is admittedly still cheaper than getting into 40K for a completely different faction. I already have multiple armies. I didn't need to do that. But now I also have a random Grey Knights army. So that's on him because he got me to do it. Because he made them look so damn cool. And also painting silver is actually really fun. And now I'm probably going to be doing this. So we expect something about a live stream for Frostpunk coming up, followed by me swearing completely constantly because I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing in city builder games or resource management. Who'd have thought? I'm doing this willingly. I realize that I make bad decisions, but it looks so cool. Can't he just like say a game is shit for once? Oh, no, wait, he did. That was the Star Wars Battlefront re-release. Which made me want to go out and buy the old version of the game, which are on Steam. Even his bad reviews get me to spend money. You know, they should just start sponsoring this guy. It's like, hey, we have a new game. Is a Bricky video made yet? It would work, even if it's just for me. I would buy every single damn game. I have literally no chill. I'm aware of this. So yeah, as you can see, I like this video. I like the game, what it looks like. I might check out the other video he did just on Last Autumn because I kind of want to know more about the world, the story, and his in-depth look at it. Because if there's so much in there that he could make an entire new video, I kind of want to find out what it's about because that sounds fascinating because I'm already really into this one. And yeah, I'm aware I'm actually going to go and hit this on my wish list on Steam, wait for it to be on sale, and hopefully it goes on sale soon because this looks really cool, man. I should probably just do this and remove my cards and like revoke Steam access for like a week after I do anything relating to Bricky because it's just not safe for my wallet. Damn you, Bricky. Stop making these look fun and innovative and have amazing music. I know, you were the one who went in there. You made the music sound good. That's why it sounded like that. All joking aside, I actually am really considering doing this. It looks really cool and it might not even be a bad option. I'll check it out. Otherwise, you guys know the deal. There's a link below to the original video. Bricky did a great job, but hit it up again if you already have. I'll see you in the next one. Adios.